In the far edge of the galaxy, near the lonely stars of the Zarvaxian Reach, a silver ship floated quietly. It was shaped like a hunting bird, with wings curved sharply inward. The name painted on the side was the Ebon Claw. The pilot inside, Drixal Zo, stared at the control panel with frustration. Drixal was a proud Zarvaxian, a race known for their advanced ships and sharp minds. He had flown through black holes, asteroid storms, and even survived pirate attacks. But now, his ship was stuck. Not because of pirates or weapons. No. The reason was simple. The ship just wouldn't move. He had tried everything he knew, rebooting the energy core, realigning the stabilizers, even calling in an emergency signal. Nothing worked. The engines made strange coughing noises, and the control panel blinked like it was having a headache. The only nearby place for help was a small moon base belonging to humans. Drixal didn't like human technology. He found it messy, slow, and full of guesswork. But he had no other choice. He sent a landing request to the human base. The moon was dusty and gray. Small metal buildings stood like tired soldiers on a flat plain. When Drixal landed, a few human workers stared at his ship with wide eyes. None of them came close, except one. A man in oil-stained coveralls walked up with a grin on his face. His name was Cal Wren, a mechanic who worked on broken mining machines and old satellites. He was tall, had messy hair, and carried a toolbox. That looked heavier than it should. "You look like you need help," Cal said, squinting at the ship. Drixal narrowed his eyes. "Do you even know what kind of ship this is?" Cal walked slowly around the ship, looking at the engines, the vents, and the panels. "Zarvaxian Mark V cruiser. You've got triple ion thrust, outdated cooling, and some weird coil arrangement. Near the plasma vents. Looks like it overheated." Drixal blinked. "That is accurate." Cal laughed. "Yeah, well, I fix junk like this every day. You want help or not?" Drixal crossed his arms. "I doubt a human can fix this level of technology." Cal shrugged. "Suit yourself. But I once fixed a Martian freighter using a toaster coil and chewing gum." That made Drixal stare. After a long pause, he gave a small sigh. "Fine. You may take a look." Inside the ship, Cal worked fast. He opened panels, examined wires, and ran small tests with a pocket device that beeped like a toy. Drixal watched, arms folded, trying not to show interest. "Your main energy flow is blocked by a surge damper," Cal said. "You guys use logic. Crystals, right? They get hot too fast. I'll swap it with a resistor system. Less pretty, more stable." "That will never work," Drixal replied. 5 minutes later, the lights flicked on. Cal smiled. "Never say never, buddy." Drixal looked away, pretending not to be impressed. Over the next 2 hours, Cal did more than just fix things. He changed things. He took out a bulky heat sink and replaced it with a flat coil design from an old Earth mining drone. He reprogrammed the interface to respond faster by deleting fancy voice commands that slowed everything down. "You don't need 10 steps to fire up the engine," Cal said. "Watch this." He pressed 3 buttons, flipped a switch, and the engine hummed like a new machine. Drixal was shocked. The ship was not just fixed. It was better, smoother, faster. "How did you learn to do this?" Drixal asked. "I've been fixing junk since I was 12, Cal replied. "Earth tech isn't fancy. We build with what we have. Makes us creative." Drixal didn't want to admit it, but this human style, it worked. It reminded him of something ancient and forgotten. Instinct. Most modern ships relied too much on auto systems. Cal used his hands, his mind, his feel for the machine. "Do you want to take her up for a spin?" Cal asked, wiping his hands. Drixal paused. Letting a human fly his ship? Impossible. But then again, he was curious. "No," Drixal said firmly. "I will fly. You will watch." Cal laughed. "Deal." They stepped into the cockpit. Drixal sat at the pilot's seat and pressed the controls. To his surprise, everything responded faster. The screens lit up quicker. The thrusters gave a gentle hum instead of a groan. He pulled the ship gently upward. It rose like a feather. No shaking, no delay. He pushed forward. The ship zipped ahead like it had been reborn. "What did you do to it?" Drixal shouted, half laughing. "Just made her breathe a little easier," Cal said, grinning. They looped. Around the moon once. The ship danced through the sky. Drixal felt like a young cadet again, soaring for the first time. When they landed, a small crowd of human workers clapped. They had never seen the alien ship fly like that before. Drixal looked at Cal with new eyes. He had misjudged this human. Cal wasn't just a junk mechanic. He was a genius in disguise. "You have talent," Drixal said, with respect in his voice. Cal smiled. "Thanks, pal. She's got more to give, you know. If you let me upgrade the thrusters." Drixal raised an eyebrow. "There's more." "Oh, yeah," Cal said. "You've been flying a beautiful bird with one wing clipped. Let me fix the rest, and you'll feel like you're riding a star." Drixal considered. His pride was strong, but his curiosity was stronger. "Very well," he said. "You may continue, but do not break anything." "No promises," Cal winked. And so the odd pair began working together, an alien pilot who trusted rules, and a human mechanic who trusted his gut. What neither of them knew was that this small partnership would soon turn into a galactic legend, because sometimes the best pilots just need a better mechanic. For the next 3 days, the strange team of Drixal Zo and Cal Ren worked side by side. The alien pilot and the human mechanic barely understood each other's tools, but somehow their ideas matched. Where Drixal used precise science, Cal used clever tricks. Where Cal guessed by feeling, Drixal checked calculations. And it worked. The Ebenclaw was no longer just a fast ship. It was becoming something new, something better. "Your heat output is 40% lower," Cal said one morning, tapping a chart with greasy fingers. "That means you can stay at high speed longer without frying your systems." Drixal gave a proud nod. "Your cooling solution, while unorthodox, is effective." Cal laughed. "That's a fancy way to say it works." Drixal had never smiled at a human before. But something about Cal made him forget his pride. The man didn't care about rules. He only cared about results. They were standing in the engine bay when Drixal noticed something odd. Cal had removed the old energy conduits and replaced them with human-style power rods made from recycled ship parts. "This is chaotic," Drixal said, staring at the web of wires. "It's like a nest of snakes." "Maybe," Cal said, wiping sweat from his face. "But these snakes carry double the charge." Drixal blinked. "What?" "I fused the human system with yours. 2 different techs, but now they talk to each other. I call it cross-sync wiring. Your ship now understands human parts like it was born with them." Drixal shook his head. "That shouldn't be possible." Cal smiled. "And yet, here we are." Later that day, Drixal called up a test simulation. He ran the engine at max power. The numbers climbed higher than ever before. The ship didn't shake. The heat didn't spike. And the sound it made, it was smooth, strong, alive. He turned to Cal. "You've turned my ship into a dragon," Cal grinned. "Let's teach it how to fly like one." As they worked, a few other aliens on the moon base took notice. One was a tall blue creature with 4 arms and glowing eyes. His name was Varnak, and he had been watching from a distance. "You let a human touch your ship?" Varnak asked Drixal one evening. "Yes," Drixal replied calmly, "and it still flies." "It does more than fly." Varnak gave a strange look. "Be careful. Humans break more than they fix." Drixal didn't reply. He simply turned back to Cal, who was laughing as he tightened bolts with a makeshift tool made from a spoon and an old magnet. That night, Drixall sat inside the cockpit looking at the stars. He remembered the first time he flew the Ebon Claw. It had been powerful but cold, fast but stiff. Now it felt different, warmer, smarter, lighter. He didn't know what was happening, but he felt it. Change. The next morning, something unexpected happened. A loud alarm rang through the moon. Basse. Red lights flashed and a voice echoed through the speakers. Emergency alert. Civilian transport caught in gravitational field. Immediate assistance needed. Drixall ran to the command center. On the screen, a large ship full of passengers was spinning near a collapsing gravity well. It was slowly being pulled in. If no one helped, it would crash into the swirling space storm. Their engines are too weak, said the base commander. They can't escape on their own. Can't. We send a rescue ship? Asked one technician. The commander shook his head. Too far. Too slow. Drixall stepped forward. The Ebon Claw can do it. The room went quiet. You think your ship is fast enough? The commander asked. It is now, Drixall replied. Then he turned to Cal. Come with me. Cal grabbed his toolbox and followed without question. They reached the hangar. The Ebon Claw gleamed under the lights. It was no longer just a military cruiser, it was a machine of beauty and strength. As they climbed aboard, Drixall looked at Cal. I will fly, he said. You handle the systems. Copy that, Cal replied. The engines roared to life. The SEEB, modified controls, responded instantly. They shot out of the moon base like a bullet. Inside the cockpit, Drixall pushed the ship faster and faster. Cal monitored power levels, cooled the engine mid-flight, and adjusted the flight pattern using his makeshift control pad. Hold steady, Cal said. You're going too close to the edge. I must get close, Drixall replied. It's the only way. Ahead of them, the gravity well looked like a black whirlpool in space. The transport ship was caught in the outer pull, spinning slowly. Drixall took a sharp turn. The ship groaned, but held together. Cal adjusted the stabilizers. You've got 1 minute before the pull gets stronger. We only need 30 seconds. The Ebon Claw reached the edge. Drixall activated the magnetic clamp. A beam shot out and locked onto the transport. We've got them, Cal shouted, but the ship was heavy, too heavy. The gravity well was pulling. Both ships in. We're not moving, Cal said. You need more thrust. Drixall gritted his teeth. I need more than that. Cal's eyes lit up. Wait, I can reroute the reserve boosters, but it'll burn the backup systems. Do it, Drixall said. Cal slammed his hand on the control pad. The ship jolted forward. Sparks flew from a panel, but the engines screamed louder. Slowly, painfully, they pulled the transport out of the well, and then, freedom. They broke away just in time. The gravity well collapsed behind them like a dying storm. The passengers aboard the transport cheered. Inside the Ebon Claw, Drixall and Cal sat in silence, breathing heavily. Drixall looked at Cal. You saved them. Cal smiled. We saved them. They returned to the moon base as heroes. People from all over the station gathered to see the ship that had done the impossible. Drixall stepped out first, proud but humble. Cal followed, covered in oil and sweat. Someone asked, What ship is that? Drixall answered with pride, The Ebon Claw, but now it's part human. The crowd clapped. Varnak approached. Perhaps I judged humans too quickly. Drixall smiled slightly. Perhaps we all did. Cal looked at Drixall. So what's next? Drixall thought for a moment. We keep flying. Together. And so, a new partnership was born. An alien pilot and a human mechanic flying across the stars, proving that two different minds could create something greater than either, one alone. The Ebon Claw was no longer just a ship. It was a symbol. After the rescue, news of the Ebon Claw's miracle spread quickly. Across the galaxy, alien traders, star pilots, and engineers began talking about the Zarvaxian ship modified by a human. Some didn't believe it. Others were curious. And a few felt threatened. Cal Wren, the human mechanic who once worked alone fixing broken tools and machines, was now being called the Ship Whisperer by locals on the moon base. Drixall didn't care much for nicknames, but he had to admit, Cal had earned it. One morning, as Cal adjusted a fuel intake pipe under the ship's wing, a new visitor arrived. The alien was tall and serious, wearing a deep green uniform with golden threads. His eyes were narrow and his voice sharp. "I am Commander Elrex of the Galactic Navigation Guild," he said, standing before Drixall. "Is it true you've allowed a human to make modifications to your star-class vessel?" Drixall nodded. "Yes." The commander looked at Cal with doubt. "And you trust this Earthling?" "Cal saved the lives of 67 passengers with his work," Drixall replied. "I do not trust him. I respect him." Elrex frowned. "His modifications are not standard, not registered, not safe. You've made the ship unstable in the eyes of the Guild." Cal stood up, wiping his hands. "Well, that unstable ship did something no other vessel in your database could do." Elrex ignored him. "We will inspect the Ebon Claw. If it fails safety tests, it must be decommissioned." Drixall's face tightened. "You may inspect it, but I promise, this ship is stronger than ever." The next day, 4 Guild engineers arrived. They carried scanners, tools, and long lists of questions. Cal tried to explain some of the systems he had installed, like the Earth-style fuel recycler or the dual-pressure thruster locks. But the inspectors only shook their heads. "These systems do not follow protocol," one muttered. "They are untested." "They're tested now," Cal said, pointing to a holographic replay of the gravity well rescue. Still, the inspectors remained silent. After a long inspection, Commander Elrex stepped forward. "The Ebon Claw is fast. No one denies that," he said. "But it breaks the rules of design. You've created something wild. It does not fit inside the box we built." Cal smiled. "Maybe it's time to make a new box." Elrex didn't answer. He left without giving a decision. Later that night, Drixall found Cal sitting on a crate, staring at the stars. "Do you think they'll shut us down?" Cal asked. "Perhaps," Drixall said softly. "But they cannot shut down the truth." Cal nodded. "Well, if this is the end, I'm glad we did something big." Drixall put a hand on Cal's shoulder. "It's not the end. Not yet." Just then, a beeping sound came from the comm system. A message blinked on the screen. It was a private request. Sender: Zarvaxian Captain Relta. Message: Need help. Emergency. Ship caught in dark space loop. Coordinates attached. No time for Guild. Please, come fast. Drixall and Cal exchanged a look. "Looks like we're not done flying," Cal said. Drixall smiled. "Prepare the ship." They launched quickly. The Ebon Claw, now polished and shining with blue and silver, sliced through space like a living arrow. Cal monitored the systems. Everything ran perfectly. When they reached the coordinates, the scene was terrifying. Captain Relta's ship was stuck inside a dark space loop, a strange, dangerous field where time bends and gravity behaves like a storm. It spun slowly in the loop, caught in a trap of invisible force. No normal ship could enter without getting pulled in. But the Ebon Claw wasn't normal anymore. "We need to fly in, attach a gravity stabilizer, and pull her out with reverse thrust," Cal explained. "That will require perfect timing," Drixall said. "Good thing we've got each other," Cal replied. Drixall piloted the ship in. The outer layer of the loop pushed back like waves. The ship shook. Warning lights blinked. But the new systems held. Cal leaned forward, pressing switches, and rerouting energy. Boosting field dampeners. Hold steady. The ship moved closer. Captain Relta's vessel spun wildly. We have to match her spin, Cal said. Drixal nodded. He used both hands on the controls. The ebon claw rotated slowly, syncing its path with the trapped ship. It was like dancing in a hurricane. Cal activated the stabilizer. A small pod shot out and locked onto Relta's ship. They were connected. Now pull, Cal shouted. Drixal pulled back the controls. The engines roared. The ship screamed. But inch by inch, they moved away from the loop. Suddenly, the loop collapsed. A shockwave pushed them sideways. Sparks flew. Panels blinked. But they had done it. Captain Relta's ship floated free, systems damaged but stable. We've got her, Cal said, falling back in his seat. Drixal took a deep breath. Well done. They guided the rescued ship back to a nearby station. Captain Relta sent a message full of thanks and praise. But something else happened too. The event had been broadcast across local frequencies. Hundreds of ships had watched the Ebon Claw in action. That night, the base was full of noise. Alien pilots came from every corner. Some brought tools, some brought questions, and some brought their own ships. One old pilot said, "I've got a ship like yours. Can you make it fly like that?" Another asked, "Will you teach us this human method?" Cal looked around, surprised. Drixal stood beside him and said proudly, "He will." And just like that, Cal became more than just a mechanic. He became a teacher. The base soon turned into a workshop. Old ships were reborn. Cal led classes explaining Earth tricks. Drixal translated into alien languages. Together, they created a small movement where alien tech and human ideas worked hand in hand. Commander Elrex returned 1 week later. But this time, he didn't speak. He just looked around and saw what was happening. The Ebon Claw wasn't breaking the rules anymore. It was creating new ones. Elrex turned to Cal and said, "You've changed something. I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's real." Cal smiled. Change is always scary at first. Elrex gave a slow nod and walked away. From that day on, the Ebon Claw was known as the first hybrid ship, a ship born from alien strength and human imagination. And for Drixal and Cal, this was just the beginning of a much bigger journey. Weeks passed, and the moon base changed completely. What was once a quiet outpost became a busy hub filled with ships, parts, and people. Pilots brought their old cruisers, fighters, and haulers from every corner of the galaxy. They didn't come for repairs. They came for upgrades. And all of them wanted the same thing: make it fly like the Ebon Claw. Cal Ren became a name people whispered with awe. Some called him the Fixer. Others said he had magic in his hands. But Cal always laughed it off. "It's not magic," he'd say. "It's just a little human stubbornness." Drixal Zo, meanwhile, became the leader of the growing movement. He taught aliens how to fly their upgraded ships. He explained the balance between speed and control, power and safety, and above all, he reminded everyone that respect between cultures was more important than speed. Together, Cal and Drixal created the first hybrid hangar, a workshop built from both Earth tools and alien tech. Wires ran across the walls like vines, glowing tubes pulsed with power, and screens displayed star maps in 10 different languages. But not everyone was happy. Far away, in the heart of the Galactic Navigation Guild, the leaders of the old ways were watching. They saw the growth of hybrid ships and the respect humans were gaining. Some of them felt proud, but others felt threatened. One such person was Overseer Norek, an older Zarvaxian who believed rules were everything. To him, this new path was dangerous. "Ships must follow structure," Norek said at a guild meeting. "If we allow wild designs and human tricks, we risk accidents, chaos, even war." "But these new ships saved lives," another member said. "They're faster, stronger, and more adaptable." "They are uncontrolled," Norek replied, "and the one called Cal Ren is leading it." Back at the hybrid hangar, Cal was working on a massive freighter with an alien named Juno, a young pilot with bright silver skin and 2 rows of tiny horns on her head. Her ship was slow, built only for cargo, but she wanted it faster. "You sure this can handle a dual-thrust converter?" Cal asked, holding a strange, glowing rod. Juno nodded. "My people say it's impossible. I want to prove them wrong," Cal smiled. "You're in the right place." As they worked, Drixall walked in with news. "A message came in," he said. "From the guild. Overseer Norek is coming, personally." Cal raised his eyebrows. "Is that good or bad?" Drixall looked serious. "He is not known for kindness." The next day, a tall ship with golden wings landed on the moon base. Overseer Norek stepped out, followed by 4 assistants in black robes. He walked straight toward the hybrid hangar, his face cold. "Are you the human?" he asked. Cal wiped his hands. "That's me. Cal Wren." Norek looked around the hangar. "This place is messy." "It's a workshop," Cal said. "Not a ballroom." Norek frowned. "I have heard stories. Modified, ships, human designs, dangerous shortcuts." "No shortcuts," Cal replied. "Just smart fixes." Norek stepped closer. "You mix weak parts with strong ones, use strange logic. Your changes break centuries of engineering. And those same changes saved 2 trapped ships and hundreds of lives," Drixall said, stepping between them. "Lives are not worth the risk of collapse," Norek said sharply. Cal's voice was calm. "Why don't you take a ride, Overseer? Let the Ebenclaw show you what these changes really do." There was a long silence. Then Norek said, "Fine." Everyone watched as Norek entered the Ebenclaw with Drixall and Cal. The cockpit glowed gently as they lifted off the ground. "Please keep your seatbelt tight," Cal joked. Norek didn't smile. The ship launched. Drixall flew smoothly, rising through the stars. Cal adjusted the controls, showing Norek how systems responded with lightning speed. They flew between asteroid belts, around moons, and even through a thick ion cloud. "This is not normal performance," Norek admitted. "It's better performance," Cal said. "This ship listens to the pilot." Suddenly, a warning flashed. Distress signal detected. Nearby patrol ship under attack by rogue drones. Coordinates locked. Drixall looked at Norek. "We're close. Should we help?" Norek was silent. Then he nodded. "Let's see what your ship can really do." They flew toward the signal. A small patrol ship was spinning, its shields weak, 3 attack drones circling like sharks. "Hang on," Drixall said. He pushed the Ebenclaw forward. Cal rerouted power to the weapons. The ship darted through the drones like a hawk, firing sharp laser blasts. 1 drone exploded, then another. The last tried to flee, but the Ebenclaw was too fast. Within seconds, the sky was clear. Drixall guided the patrol ship safely away. Inside the cockpit, Norek sat quietly. Cal turned to him. "Still think this ship is a risk?" Norek didn't speak. Then slowly he said, "Perhaps I was wrong." Back on the moon base, Norek made a statement to the crowd. "The Ebenclaw has shown that human ideas, when combined with alien technology, can create something powerful and safe. This hangar will remain open." The crowd cheered. From that day, the guild began working with Cal and Drixall. They set new rules, not to control the future, but to guide it. A new branch of engineering was born. Hybrid mechanics. Pilots who once feared change now stood in line for upgrades. Humans and aliens worked side by side, sharing knowledge, testing new parts, flying faster and farther than ever before. And the Ebenclaw? It became a legend, not just for speed or design, but because it brought 2 worlds together. As for Cal and Drixall, they continued their journey, fixing ships, teaching others. And every time someone asked how it all began, Drixall would smile and say, I let a human touch my ship, and he gave me the ride of my life." The stars looked different now. They were still shining, still silent, still ancient. But to Cal Ren and Drixal Zo, the stars no longer just marked distances. Now they marked stories, victories, friendships. A journey that began with a broken ship and a human mechanic had become something far greater. Months passed since the hybrid hangar was approved by the Guild. Ships from every species now flew with Earth-style wiring, mixed tech designs, and upgrades based on Cal's once strange ideas. Drixal's name was listed in star academies as a pilot of innovation, and Cal had become the first human ever to receive honorary membership in the Galactic Navigation Guild. But change, no matter how good, always brings new challenges. One morning, as Cal adjusted a curved energy coil under a visitor's ship, Drixal approached him with a message pad in his hand. "There's been a theft," Drixal said quietly. Cal looked up. "What kind?" "Blueprints," Drixal replied. "Someone stole the core hybrid design files we created for the Ebon Claw. They took the engine plans, the fuel converter models, everything." Cal stood slowly. "That's dangerous. In the wrong hands, someone could build a ship too powerful. Or unstable." The Guild traced the signal. It came from a remote moon in Sector 9, a small group. They call themselves the Iron Wind. Cal frowned. "Never heard of them." "They're pirates," Drixal said, "but smarter than most. They steal tech and sell it to warlords." Cal grabbed his tools. "Then let's pay them a visit." Drixal nodded. The Ebon Claw is ready. As they launched from the moon base, the stars once again opened wide before them. This time, their journey wasn't about fixing or flying. It was about protecting what they had built. The Ebon Claw sliced through light and shadow, crossing jump, gates, and asteroid fields. Inside, Cal checked the controls while Drixal flew with perfect focus. "Do you think they've already built something from the stolen plans?" Cal asked. "I hope not," Drixal replied. "If they mixed it wrong, it could explode or worse, turn into a weapon." They reached Sector 9 by nightfall. The sky there was darker, filled with drifting clouds of space dust and broken satellites. On a rocky moon below, a small base flickered with green lights. "That's them," Cal said. "Iron Wind." Drixal turned the ship toward the base. "Let's see how fast they run." As the Ebon Claw approached, an alarm sounded from the base. Drones lifted off the surface, 10 of them, armed with cannons and magnetic nets. "They're launching everything they've got," Cal said. "Then so will we," Drixal replied. He pulled the Ebon Claw into a sharp climb. The upgraded thrusters responded instantly. Cal rerouted power to shields and weapons. Lasers flashed across the sky. The drones were fast. But the Ebon Claw was faster. It danced between attacks, firing precise shots that disabled engines and sensors without destroying. The drones. Cal didn't believe in unnecessary damage. He believed in smart flying. Within minutes, the sky was clear. They landed outside the base. Drixal stepped out first, his uniform marked with both Zarvaxian and Guild symbols. Cal followed with a small toolkit strapped to his side, not for fixing, but just in case they needed a creative solution. Inside, the base was cold and dim. Machines buzzed softly. They followed the signal to a locked room where a large screen showed blueprints. There, blueprints spinning slowly, a voice came from the shadows. "You should be proud. Your work is beautiful." A figure stepped out. He was tall, with mechanical arms and a smooth metal mask. His name was Vorik, the leader of the Iron Wind. "You stole from us," Drixal said calmly. "I borrowed," Vorik said, "and improved. Look." He tapped a button. A hologram of a new ship appeared, sleek, sharp, armed with more weapons than necessary. Cal stepped forward. "That's not what we built. You turned it into a war machine." "Why not?" Vorik asked. "Your designs are powerful. With a few changes, they could rule half the stars." They were never made for that, Cal said. They were made for balance, for trust between species. Vorik's eyes flashed behind his mask. Trust is weakness. No, Drixal said. Trust is what saved lives. It's what brought peace between worlds. Vorik laughed. And what will stop me now? Cal smiled. The same ship you tried to copy. Without warning, Drixal pressed a switch on his wristband. The Ebon Claw's systems responded. A signal burst from its main core, scrambling the stolen files on Vorik's server. The blueprints vanished. What have you done? Vorik shouted. Cal stepped closer. You see, we never saved the real plans anywhere else. Only the Ebon Claw carries them, and she doesn't share with strangers. Vorik tried to reach for a weapon, but before he could, Drixal activated a stunner that froze him in place. The guild arrived soon after, responding to a silent alert sent from the Ebon Claw mid-battle. Vorik and his crew were taken into custody, and the base was sealed. On the way back, Drixal and Cal sat quietly in the cockpit. That was close, Drixal said. Too close, Cal replied. We need to protect what we've built. They returned to the moon base as heroes once more. But something had changed. They realized the Ebon Claw was no longer just a ship for flying or showing off power. It had become a keeper of knowledge, of balance, of unity. In the following weeks, they began building something new, the Academy of Hybrid Flight. It would train humans and aliens alike to fly, fix, and protect hybrid ships. Drixal became the first head instructor. Cal became the lead engineer. Students arrived from every world. Some wanted to learn. Some wanted to teach. But all of them believed in the same idea, that together they were better. And in the hangar, shining like a guardian among all the ships, stood the Ebon Claw. No longer just a modified vessel. Now, it was a symbol of hope. At night, when the lights dimmed and the stars returned, Cal would often sit under the wing of the ship, looking up at the sky. Sometimes Drixal would join him. You know, Cal said once, I thought I was just fixing an old ship, never thought it would change my life. Drixal smiled. And I thought I was just letting a human take a look, never thought I'd end up trusting him with the stars. They laughed quietly, and above them, the stars kept shining, watching, waiting, ready for the next ride.